Sometimes telling the truth isn't liberating, it's devastating. I never thought I'd share my struggles publicly, but I just need to vent because this situation feels unfair. Recently, I realized that sometimes the truth isn't just hard, it's downright punishing. 4 months ago, I discovered a secret that would change my family forever. I thought I was doing the right thing, but now, I'm the outcast in my own family. I'll share how it all happened and let you decide if I'm the real a-hole for telling my sister the truth about her husband's affair. So here's the backdrop. My sister Sophia, who's 5 years older than me, had been married to Owen for 6 years. They seemed like the perfect couple, a total match made in heaven. At least, that's what we all thought. Owen was charming, kind, and attentive. He really seemed like the perfect husband. My family adored him, and Sophia was thrilled to have him by her side. But looking back now, I realize it was all one big, cruel lie. Owen could have won an Oscar for his performance. He had everyone fooled. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he wasn't the only actor in my sister's life. My sister had a best friend, Sarah, who wasn't just a friend, but family to all of us. We grew up together, and Sarah had always been in our lives. Sophia would talk endlessly about how lucky she was to have an amazing husband and a best friend who'd do anything for her. It was like everything in her life was just perfect. But in my experience, when life seems perfect, there's often something dark hiding just below the surface. And for Sophia, that perfect life was hiding some very shocking secrets. Secrets I happened to discover by pure coincidence. One evening, I was out with my boyfriend, Andrew. We decided to go for a long walk, enjoying the cool night air and talking about life. As we reached downtown, we started chatting about where to grab a bite. That's when Andrew suddenly nudged me, his voice low and cautious. "Look across the road, isn't that Owen? And who's he with? That's definitely not your sister." I turned and saw him, Owen, unmistakably standing with someone who looked just like Sarah. At first, I didn't think much of it. They were right outside Sarah's apartment building, and I thought maybe Owen was just giving her a ride home. Sarah was practically family after all. I reassured Andrew as well, since I hadn't introduced them yet. I explained that Sarah was like family to us and that she and Sophia had been best friends for as long as I could remember. After that, I was ready to wave to them, until they did something I never could have anticipated. They kissed. It was not a friendly goodbye kiss either. It was passionate. I was completely stunned. My heart dropped, and before I could even process it, I pulled out my phone and snapped a few pictures, almost on instinct. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Luckily, Owen and Sarah didn't notice us. They headed upstairs together, and I felt like my world had been turned upside down. Andrew and I went to a nearby cafe that happened to have a view of Sarah's apartment. I couldn't help myself. I just kept watching, hoping I was somehow mistaken. After a few minutes, the lights in Sarah's bedroom flicked on. Moments later, Sarah appeared by the window, pulling the curtains, wearing only her underwear. Owen stepped in behind her, shirtless, and they kissed again before she closed the curtains completely. I managed to get one clear shot of them together. My romantic evening was ruined. I was in shock, barely able to hold myself together. This was Sophia's husband. This was the man my family adored, the man who'd promised to build a life with my sister. I felt like I was about to be sick. Andrew asked me what I was going to do. I didn't know. I felt paralyzed. Days passed, and the weight of what I'd seen felt unbearable. I was afraid to tell Sophia, but I was even more afraid of what would happen if I didn't. My sister was oblivious. Her world was still perfect, and I could hardly stand being around her without breaking down. Family events became torture, as I avoided one-on-one conversations with her and steered clear of Owen and Sarah. 2 weeks later, Sophia invited me over to talk about her birthday party, saying Owen was out and she wanted some help planning. Obviously, I went to help her. The moment I walked in, she was practically glowing with happiness. It didn't take long before she started talking about how much she'd noticed Owen and Sarah sneaking around lately, whispering when she entered the room or spending time together behind her back. But she laughed it off, convinced they were just planning some extravagant surprise for her birthday. "They're both terrible at keeping secrets," she laughed. "I bet they're planning something amazing, but I play along and will be very surprised." She went on, praising them both, talking about how lucky she was to have an attentive husband like Owen, who cared so much, and a best friend like Sarah, who was as close as a sister. Every word was like a dagger. She kept talking about how cute they both were, how grateful she felt to have two people in her life who'd do anything to make her happy. My heart broke as she went on about noticing them texting each other, thinking it was all part of some grand plan for her birthday. She truly believed they were working together on some big surprise, that all this sneaking around was for her. I couldn't take it anymore. I hadn't gone there planning to tell her, but I just couldn't hold it in any longer. I asked her to sit down, my voice shaking. "Sophia," I said, "they do have a surprise for you, but it's not the kind you're expecting." She looked confused, and I struggled to find the words to break the news gently. But there was no easy way, so I told her what I had seen. Then I showed her the photos I'd taken. Her face went pale, and she covered her mouth, her eyes filling with tears. She just kept whispering, "No, no. How could they? This can't be real." Sophia was devastated. She broke down crying uncontrollably. She kept thanking God she wasn't pregnant yet. Sophia told me she and Owen had been trying to have a baby for some time. She said he'd been acting so supportive and devoted, yet he'd been lying to her this whole time. Sophia said, "Angela, I don't get it. Why did he do it with Sarah? I really hate them both." It was devastating to see her world crumble right in front of me, but I couldn't bear to keep lying to her. She asked how long I'd known, and I admitted that I'd seen them 2 weeks ago. I explained that I'd been so shocked I didn't know how to tell her, and that I'd even considered confronting Owen and Sarah myself. But I knew that if I did, they'd just cover their tracks better and be cautious. She thanked me for telling her the truth, even though it shattered her. Sophia told me she prefers to live in reality, not illusions. Sophia then confronted Owen and Sarah. At first, they tried to deny everything, insisting it was all a misunderstanding. But when she showed them the photos, they had no choice but to admit it. Turns out they'd been seeing each other behind her back for a year. Owen and Sarah looked caught, panicked, and quickly pointed fingers at each other. Desperate to hold on to his marriage, Owen pleaded with Sophia, saying, "You're the only one I've ever truly loved. This thing with Sarah was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I know it was wrong, but you're the one I want to be with. Please, Sophia, don't throw everything away because of one stupid mistake." Through her tears, Sophia demanded to know why he'd betrayed her in the first place. Owen stammered, searching for an excuse. "I don't know. I guess I felt neglected, you know," he muttered, his voice wavering. "We were so focused on trying to start a family that, I don't know, I started feeling invisible. Sarah was just there. She listened to me, she understood me, but I never loved her. Not like I love you." Sarah, visibly uncomfortable, quickly jumped in, blaming Owen for pursuing her. "Sophia, I swear I didn't mean for this to happen." Owen kept coming to me, telling me he was struggling and needed a friend. He was so insistent. I tried to resist, but he kept pushing. He made me feel special. But then when Owen realized that Sophia was directing her anger at him, he turned on Sarah, his tone cold. She's the one who kept inviting me over, whispering about how unhappy she thought I was. I wasn't looking for this. Sarah she was there in a weak moment. But I didn't want this. I only want you. Seeing them bicker and blame each other only made Sophia feel worse. Here were the two people she trusted most in the world, tearing each other down just to save themselves. The excuses and finger-pointing were heartbreaking to witness, but Sarah's apology didn't stop there. She looked at Sophia, her voice softening. "Please, Sophia, I never wanted to come between us. You're like a sister to me. I can't lose you. Please, can't we work through this somehow?" Sophia shook her head, looking at them both with a mixture of anger, sadness, and disbelief. Their apologies felt hollow, their excuses pathetic. "A mistake?" she repeated, her voice trembling. "I was building a future with you, Owen, trying to start a family. And Sarah, you're supposed to be my best friend. You two didn't just make a mistake. You lied to me every day for a year. You both made the decision to betray me." Sophia was done. She could see now that neither of them genuinely regretted their actions. They just regretted getting caught. Without another word, she told them both to leave her life. She cut off all contact with Sarah and filed for divorce from Owen, unwilling to listen to any more excuses. The breakup and loss of friendship were hard enough, but our family's reaction cut even deeper. Instead of supporting Sophia, our parents turned their anger on me as if I were the one who'd shattered her world. They didn't direct an ounce of blame at Owen or Sarah. To them, I was the villain. "You've destroyed Sophia's life," my mom said coldly, as though I were the one who betrayed her. She insisted I should have kept quiet, that people make mistakes, and that a marriage shouldn't be thrown away over one little slip-up. I don't even know if my mom realizes they'd been cheating on Sophia for a year. In my world, that's far from one little slip-up. At that moment, I realized my parents weren't interested in the truth. They wanted comfort, even if it meant pretending everything was fine. "Sophia deserves the chance to forgive him," she argued. "Divorce isn't the answer, it's only going to make her life harder." The irony was unbearable. My parents believed that if Sophia had found out naturally on her own terms, she might have been more understanding, maybe even willing to rebuild. They saw my interference as an unforgivable act that pushed Sophia toward throwing her life away. And they didn't just voice their opinions, they acted on them. They outright refused to support her through the divorce, claiming it was a mistake that would haunt us all. So Andrew and I became Sophia's primary support system. She even started seeing a therapist, which helped her move forward. But my mom was unrelenting. She went so far as to say they wouldn't speak to me until I somehow fixed this mess. Her words were chilling. "Sophia's already 30, she said. "Do you really think she will find another man to build a family with? You've stolen her chance at happiness and a future." She practically spat the words, accusing me of selfishly tearing apart her only shot at a family. Sophia, on the other hand, thinks our parents have completely lost their minds. She has no intention of taking Owen back after everything he put her through. She's even tried to bring our family back together, but our parents refuse to budge and are still furious with me. I'm terrified that I may have lost my family for good. I wonder if my parents will ever see that I was trying to protect Sophia from a life built on lies. I'll admit, there was a moment when I thought maybe my mom was right, and I should have kept my mouth shut about the affair. But Andrew reassured me that I'd done the right thing. "Think of it this way," he said. "If you hadn't told her, Sophia would have found out eventually. And when she did, knowing you kept it from her would hurt just as much as the betrayal itself. You might have lost your sister." I knew he was right, but it didn't make the sting of my parents' rejection any easier to bear. So here I am, completely alienated from my family and blamed for telling the truth. My sister is working hard to rebuild her life, while our parents still refuse to acknowledge the pain Owen and Sarah caused. They see me as the villain, the one who ruined everything. What do you think? Am I the a-hole for stepping in and telling my sister the truth about her husband and her best friend? Did I ruin her life or give her the chance to build a better life with someone who truly loves her? Let me know. What would you have done in my shoes?